All right, let's talk about something that every marketing manager apprentice has probably seen and thought, huh, we're talking about S17. It sounds super complex, maybe a little bit vague, and let's be honest, kind of intimidating. But don't you worry, because today we are going to break it all down and make it make sense. Let's get into it.
So here's the real kicker, isn't it? S17 is all about inspiring people, motivating them. But how on earth do you prove that? How do you show it on paper? It feels like trying to catch smoke. How do you actually evidence inspiration for your portfolio? It's the big question, and we're going to answer it.
To make this all feel real, let's meet Jody. She's a level 6 marketing apprentice at a company called Ibis Stores, and she is feeling the exact same confusion about S17 that you might be. Her journey is going to be our roadmap for mastering this thing.
So here's our game plan. We're going to follow Jody's journey through 5 key steps. First, we'll tackle the initial challenge. Then we'll figure out what S17 actually means. From there, we'll get into how to develop it, how to prove it on Aptem, and finally, how to absolutely nail your endpoint assessment. Okay, first things first, Jody's got to get her head around what she's actually being asked to do. The official title is a bit of a mouthful, right? But breaking it down is the absolute key to getting started.
So this is the official definition. It's about leading through influence and example. It's not about being the boss and telling people what to do. It's about making people want to do great work because they're genuinely motivated by you and the standard you set. It's a really subtle but incredibly powerful difference. And this is where things start to click for Jody. Her manager, Riddle, puts it perfectly. She says, think less managing tasks and more energizing people. Wow. It's all about making your team feel confident, like they own their work. That little shift in thinking is a total game changer. And Riedel is absolutely spot on to focus on this, because look why this skill matters so much. It's not just some fluffy, nice-to-have thing. It directly leads to better work, it builds a stronger and more accountable team, and it makes your entire department look good. This skill is basically the engine that drives success. Okay, so Jody gets the what and the why, but now for the crucial part, the how. How does she actually take this idea and put it into practice? Well, for that, she turns to her mentor, Adam, to come up with a real plan. And here's Adam, her mentor. He makes it crystal clear that this is a process. You don't just flip a switch and become an inspiring leader. Nope. It's built through small, consistent, and really intentional actions over time. And that last part is key. You need a plan. So, Adam lays out this really clear 4-step framework. It's brilliant. It starts with you, building your own confidence. Then you show that through your actions by being a role model. You use that to help improve performance, and you keep getting better by reflecting on what you're doing. Let's see how that looks. Now, this is where that idea of role modeling becomes really concrete. This chart is fantastic. Are you just focusing on getting tasks done, or are you focused on the actual outcome? Do you point fingers when things go wrong, or do you take ownership? It really makes you think about where you fall on that spectrum, from just managing to truly leading. So, based on that framework, Autumn gives Jody some actual things to do. And these aren't just thought experiments. These are real, practical tasks that force you to practice S17. Leading a project, looking at your own work habits, having one of those tricky conversations about performance. These are the moments where you really build those leadership muscles. All right, so Jody's been practicing, she's developing the skill, she's feeling way more confident. But now we're back to that initial problem, proving it. It's time to bring in her coach, Olivia, to talk about how to get all this great work documented on Aptium. And Olivia's advice here is just pure gold. Your evidence can't just be a random collection of files. It needs to tell a story about your leadership, and most importantly, the impact it had. Because if you don't document it with that story in mind, then for an assessor, it's like it never even happened. And this table just lays it all out so clearly. Olivia gives her this super practical guide for every type of evidence, like say, an email you sent to the team. The tip is to highlight how you inspired confidence, not just that you passed on information. It's all about connecting what you did to the positive result. So when Jody sits down to rate her commentary on APATEM, Olivia gives her this non-negotiable checklist. You have to answer these 4 questions every single time. How did you do it? Which behaviors did you use? What actions did you take? And what was the impact? This structure makes sure her story is powerful and hits every single point the assessor is looking for. Okay, Jody has built the skill, she has documented it perfectly. Now it's time for the final hurdle, the endpoint assessment, the EPA. She needs to be able to talk about all this S17 stuff with confidence and clarity in that professional discussion. So imagine you're in the hot seat and the assessor asks you this. This is a classic S17 question. How do you give an answer that really shows you get it, that you're operating at a level 6? Well, Jody's been practicing.
And here's her answer. Just listen to those keywords: inspiring confidence, clarity and example, modeling, supporting, energize the team. She's not just saying, I'm a good leader. She's explaining exactly how she leads. That is a sharp, confident, distinction-level response.
Okay, here comes another one. This question drills down on that whole role model piece of S17. The assessor wants specifics about your behavior, not just vague ideas. So how would Jody handle this one?
Boom, another amazing answer. She points to specific stages: planning, execution, review. She explains the result, it sets a clear standard, and she shows she's proactive. I actively support my colleagues. This shows real ownership and a focus on the whole team's success. Perfect. And just like that, Jody's journey is complete. The skill that felt so big and confusing at the start has now become one of her core strengths. By breaking it down, practicing it on purpose, and documenting her impact, she's ready. She's got the knowledge, the practice, and the proof.
So we've walked through the entire process with Jody, all the way from confusion to complete confidence. You've seen the map she followed. So the only real question left is, what's the very first intentional step you're going to take to start building your own S17 skill, starting today?